Howdy guys, Tyler Bobo again here. I do a lot of creative real estate investing, and I wanted to show, kind of draw out one of these latest deals that I did just to show you one of the things that you can do. So this is one that I did both as an investor and a real estate agent, but it can come in handy even if you're just one or the other, just to know some of these cool creative ways you can structure a deal. So on this deal, the background story is that these clients called me. I had never met them before. They said that they had a really tricky property and somebody told them that I was the only one who could help them out getting this property sold. Actually, they had spoken to another realtor, and that realtor had told them that they had an unsellable property. They said it was not sellable and that they should give it back to their lender. And we sold it in about 5 days. So the reason they thought that this was a tricky property that couldn't be sold was that the property wasn't financeable, it was not in good shape, it was stripped down to the studs, it wasn't on a solid foundation, and they actually owed money on it on a private owner finance note. They had purchased it from this party, they thought they could finish the project, ended up being more than they were able to handle, so now they needed to get out from under it and quit paying this mortgage on a house that wasn't livable. And so what we did is we decided that we would sell it on owner finance. And to solve the problem, when we sold it on owner finance, we would sell the note simultaneously at closing. And so to give some further background, these clients needed a certain amount of cash. They needed approximately $20,000 in their pocket at the end of the day so that they could leave Alaska and never look back. They weren't interested in carrying this note, they just wanted to be done. They didn't have the money to foreclose, they didn't have the money to keep paying the original note if the buyer couldn't pay. So this made a perfect opportunity to do what we're about to show you what we did here. So what we did is we listed the property for $60,000. We got the $60,000 purchase price offer, and we did a $10,000 down payment. So the buyer brought $10,000 to the closing table, and that left a $50,000 note that was financed at 8% at about $1,013 per month. So out of the $10,000 down payment that was received, there was about $6,000 in closing costs, and $4,000 went to the seller's pocket. And remember, the seller wanted about $20,000, so this is part of what they're getting. Out of the $6,000 closing costs, there was $4,800 in commission and $1,200 in other closing costs. These were the estimates before it all played out. It played out slightly different, but these are pretty close to the All right, so then on the other side, after the $10,000 down payment, there's a $50,000 note that we created at 8% interest, over $1,000 a month coming in. Now, I mentioned the original note that was on the property that the sellers owed to a previous owner on their owner finance purchase. There's $21,000 currently left on that note. They're paying $600 a month, and they're paying 5% interest, and there's about 36 months left at the time that we did this deal. So after with the $50,000 note that we created in this transaction, $29,000 is left as equity after paying the $21,000 original. That's if it was all paid off at once, which is unlikely, but basically there's $29,000 face value equity left in the note that we created. All right, so we've got the $50,000 note, which is $1,000 a month, just over $1,000 a month. If it goes the full 5-year term at the 8%, it'll be a total of $60,829. So that's more than the $50,000 because of the interest over those years. But out of that, we have to pay the $21,000 original underlying note, which is $600 a month. But that doesn't go for 5 years, and the interest is only 5%, not 8%. So we move that number down here, and there's $22,800. That's about what that $21,000 will turn into, almost $23,000 with the interest over the just over 3 years. So if you take what this one will be if it goes full term, and remove what this one will be if it goes full term, we have a $38,029 spread. Now that $38,000 is what this note equity, its face value of $29,000. If they both go full term, will end up being $38,000 because of the difference, and the interest rate and the number of years, because this one will be done paying in a couple years. This whole note goes 5 years. So there's a spread there, a potential $38,029 right there. So this is where it starts to get really cool. So we've got the spread that we just talked about, $38,000 and change. What we're going to do with this original note is we're going to sell it to an investor. In this case, it happens to be me, but it can be anybody. You bring in an investor to purchase this note for this price. Now, whoever purchases this note is still responsible for paying this. And so they've got the face value equity of $29,000, the potential spread of $38,000, but they've got the liability to take care of this if anything were to happen to the note. So in this case, we sold the note for $16,500. And what we did when we structured this whole deal is that we were looking to end up with that number that the seller needed, up to $20,000. So at a purchase of $16,500, off of the $38,000 that should be coming in, the profit from this note should be $21,529. So here's kind of the full conclusion of the deal. The seller originally wanted $20,000 on this property that they were told was unsellable because the other realtor didn't know how to structure a deal like this and get everybody paid. So the seller got $20,500 after the original portion of the down payment and the sale of their note, which we did simultaneously at closing. Now, a lot of times this can be to another investor. This time I purchased it myself to not bring in another investor because it was a good deal. Everybody got what they wanted. As a realtor on the deal, we got a $4,800 commission for structuring this cool deal. So for my time and effort, I got paid $4,800. For my investment, where I invested that $16,000 over 5 years, it'll be the $21,000 profit. So total on a $60,000 price, there's $26,000 profit, both as a realtor, as a professional salesperson, as well as an investor that had, actual money in the game plus liability over here. If you take that profit from the note that I purchased and you divide it by the amount of money that I already had into the deal, because I had to pay to get that profit, and then you divide it over the 5 years, my ROI on the note side of this purchase is a 26% ROI. Plus, of course, I got the commission too on a property that nobody else wanted to do. So at the end of the day, there's usually a way to structure a deal where everybody wins, even if it is a little bit more complicated. Like a lot of realtors, a lot of my colleagues would not be interested in a $60,000 listing that had an underlying payment, no foundation, no anything. The buyer got a property that they could finish and build equity in this really strong real estate market, and so it worked out for everybody to come up with this structure of a deal. Thank you very much.